everybody. My name's Joan, and I am delighted, terrified, to be here to chat with you today. And I just wanted to say, I've never had anybody be that happy when I walked into a room, ever, so that's really nice. And also, you're doing really well coming out midweek for some science comedy, so give yourselves a round of applause. Okay, so, I've forgotten what I was supposed to say. Oh yeah, so do a bit of housekeeping, I guess. The first thing is I talk really, really fast. The first lecture I gave was supposed to be an hour, did it in 20 minutes. I did get a standing ovation, so try and keep up with me. Oh, the other thing is, since I've had kids and I've gone away and come back from maternity leave, I can't stop cursing. I don't know if it's because at home I'm like, oh, holy guacamole, blueberries, and at work it's a bit different. But I was getting the support from the guys in the office, and I was like, I'm actually going to stop, go really try hard not to curse. And they all just laughed at me. Share of bastards, no support. So basically, we're just going to ask ourselves today, first of all, I wanted to say to you all, this gig is sold out. So you're really, really lucky to get tickets, and it's literally nothing to do with Deirdre O'Kane. Nothing at all. No, it's all to do with my mom. So my mom basically is a one-woman PR machine. And it's really embarrassing, actually, lads. She went around and she would tell anyone who would listen about this amazing gig that she was going to on the 27th of November in the Laughter Lounge. And so when I managed to pry her away from there and bring her here, I had to buy her a ticket. Thanks, Mom. So with all that said, we're going to basically go like, why are we here? And I'm going to include you all in my existential crisis. All right, okay, I'll just answer it then. So I'm here because I want to share with you my nerdy love of all things immunology, and also to get better at science communication, not just to stop the cursing, but actually to get better at science communication. And you'll see in a few minutes why I probably need a bit of help. Like sometimes it's fine. Like sometimes I can talk to people about, how brown eyes are dominant over blue, and I talk to them about the blood groups, and it all goes really, really well. And then I spend 20, 30 minutes probably having the same conversation with the same people over and over again. And I spend like 20 or 30 minutes pushing a giant, unruly fucking elephant up a flight of stairs. And I think, this is good. We're on an even platform now. They're looking at me. We've reached a plateau. They can see my point. It's all rational. It's all going well. Then they turn around and trample me on the way fucking down, screaming, no, there's a link to autism. So I'm clearly talking about anti-vaxxers here. And there's nothing wrong with them. Only they're missing probably half of the picture. You know. So somebody feels my pain. And vaccination's not my area. I'm just really nerdily into it. Because I might think my DNA actually reads NERD, not ATCG. So basically what happened was, which is the start of all my stories, what happened was, I was telling somebody that's all lies. It was all based on lies. This guy took blood off kids at his son's birthday party, completely unethically. Where were all the parents? And it's all lies. He got money off pharma companies. So it's all based on lies. And I sound really, really rational there. That's really good. And then somebody, so it was my in-laws. And they had the teenage daughter. And they came to my house and we were having tea and cake and it was going great, right? And then they were like, what do you think about the HPV vaccine? They're bringing it in. And if anybody knows, it's the one for cervical cancer. And I was like, okay, this is where I shine. This is the science part. I actually lecture on that. Spend 20, 30 minutes talking to them about it to be told, linked to autism. There's no link to autism. But, I don't like needles. Ooh, what do you think, Joan? What do I think? If you don't want to get cancer and you don't want to die, get the vaccine. And while that's great, it's probably not a good tagline and something we shouldn't shout at kids. So this is why I need help with science communication. And the other area where I probably need it is when I'm lecturing to the zombies. I mean the students, I lecture to them. And I kind of think, when they come in, I'm like, what would they most like to hear from me? Not that the lecture's over, or, hey, this is definitely on the exam, but I think, what would they like to hear? In amongst all the information I have to tell them. I'm like, do you know what they'd love to hear? Like nuggets about how the techniques have evolved and what we started with and what we have now. Like, basically the history of immunology, right? Who wouldn't want to hear about that? You look about as excited as my students, but you can't get out. So I'm going to tell you. So, as I said, I'm not into immunology. I know I'm not into vaccines, but I love that area. But does anybody know the name of the guy who's credited with starting off the vaccination campaign that we have? Yeah, just as good as when I asked the students. I'm going to pretend I heard somebody say Edward Jenner. You're right, yeah, Edward Jenner, yeah. Well, I'm not going to talk about him. Yeah. I'm going to go 100 years before and talk to you about Lady Mary Wortley Montagu. Now, Lady Mary went off to the Ottoman Empire in the 1700s, as you do on your holidays. And she noticed that they were doing this thing, and it was for cosmetic reasons. They were like the Kardashians of their time, right? So everybody was dying left, right, and centre from smallpox, and if you didn't die, you were horribly, horribly disfigured. So they found out that if you got smallpox, you had these blisters on your hand, and underneath them was this horrible, ooey, gooey pus, basically filled with viruses. So they would take a bit of the virus from somebody who didn't have a really bad infection, and they'd get somebody healthy. I'll take Kate or Olivia, any one of them will do. And they would scrape it on their skin and give them a really mild form of the disease. And they were hoping they wouldn't die, and just basically save the aesthetics, so stay beautiful. Essentially, that's what it was for. Mary was like, that's great, but also they're not dying of smallpox. I'm going to bring that back to England. She brought it back to England, and they went, no, you're a woman, and also it's batshit fucking crazy. Like, who was going to sign up for that? So they did an experiment where they got 7 volunteers, 7 guys on death row, prisoners, and they said, hey, we'll hang you tomorrow or you can take the treatment. So they all chose the treatment, they all survived, and they got set free. What the fuck were they in prison for? And they just let them out. It's literally fascinating, right? So then you move over 100 years forward, and then there's Edward Jenner, and he's sitting there staring at the milkmaids thinking, she has a lovely complexion. You know what, actually, though, apart from that, she actually doesn't, most of the maids don't seem to get smallpox. And if they do, it's a really, really mild form. What they do get, though, is this thing from milking the cows. It's really unsightly, called cowpox. But they don't actually they don't die from that. It's just unsightly. And I know what you're all thinking. The same thing Edward Jenner thought. Do you know what I'll do? I'll get the gardener's son. He's 8. He's had a long life. I'll take him in, and I am going to inject not 1, but 2 of his arms with cowpox. Yeah, you got it. Wait 2 days, and then lash in smallpox. Yeah. And then what I particularly love is the language at the time. Astonishingly, amazingly, much to everyone's surprise, including Jenner, James didn't die. So this is the start. This is the notion that if you get exposure to something less lethal, like the cowpox, which isn't lethal, that you'll be able to survive smallpox. And it's wonderful. But again, I'm still going, what the fuck did James do? You don't want to mow the lawn or pull the weeds. Go up to Jenner. He's a nice, easy job for you. You might die or end up disfigured, but you don't have to mow the lawn. It'd be grand. Go do that. All right. So I know I'm obsessed with vaccines, but it's not actually my area. I'm interested in inflammation. So if you've ever been inflamed, not in the mills and boons, inflamed in a gorge kind of way, inflamed if you've ever had an injury, an insult or an injury, then you know what I'm talking about. So if you've ever hurt yourself and you have that red swelling and... no? Okay, so it's still not getting any better, but you know what I mean. If you've ever hurt yourself, you know. And basically inflammation, the area that I'm interested in, is because it's how our immune system communicates. So we... think of them as like little security guards going around, and they've this whole area that they have to look at. But there's no phones, there's no work 50, there's no WhatsApp, there's none of that. So they have to talk to each other a certain way. And basically, think of them like little circles. They can put stuff on the outside of themselves to talk to one another, or they can let stuff out. And it's these molecules that they let out, messengers basically, that say when something's going on. So they're kind of floating around, and then they see something, they let something out, and it's like, hey, get over here, you need to see this. So they all leg it over. They all chop up the bacteria and the virus. They go to town. They're going so mad, they're attacking all your healthy tissue. So you need to knock it off. You go, right, yeah, you're done now. Tidy up. Like I say to my kids in the playroom, they love it. Tidy up now, we've had all our fun, tidy up. So you tidy it up and they fix it all up. But what happens in the disease area that we're interested in, autoimmunity, your body doesn't have that switch to knock off. So it just keeps attacking things. Even without bacteria and virus, it just starts attacking everything. And we're like, right, if we know what the people are missing, what the control signal is that they're missing, and we can give it back, we can stop it. And what happens in the disease that we're interested in looking at, Sjogren's, is the immune system is kind of wandering around and going, hey, I actually don't like the look of them. They're a bit shifty. So they go start attacking your eyes and go, no, we don't like them. So they attack them. The patients really have really bad problems with vision, really bad inflammation. And so what we did, or the royal way, I made my student do it, we stick a speculum in people's eyeballs, like Clockwork Orange, and then take off a layer of cells, like ripping off a plaster. Oh, I am looking for donors, so you can sign the forms on the way out. And then we take off those cells and have a look. And so we know what basically the patients are missing. So we're going to give it back. And our idea is, right, message in a bottle. So we're going to give them back this little signal that they're missing. So what we want to do is make small little particles with the message on the inside. So they need to be small and positive. Oh, yeah. It's got 4 ingredients, and one of them is water. I've made porridge with more interest, right? We can't get it to work. If we want them to be small and positive, they're fucking large and negative. If you want them, we have them by the bucket load. But recently, okay, we've had some success. And then what I do is when everything starts to look a bit good, I go, I have to ruin my life. I want to make it bigger, better. I'm great at making bad life choices. Hey, student, go make me a 3D model. I want a 3D eyeball and do this. So I'm currently ruining my life and basically hers too. So that's what we're doing. And the other thing is, what I'll leave you on is, most of the best discoveries in immunology were fortuitous, or as we know in the business, a fucking mistake. What happened was they were trying to do the polio vaccine. They were basically killing chickens with polio vaccine virus, right? Trying to make the vaccine. And they all buggered off on the holidays. And I'm going to say the student, let's call him Kevin. He left the virus out on the bench, came back after the summer, and then Kevin tried to kill some chickens and they wouldn't die, right? So poor old Kevin legs it off, makes a new batch, tries to kill those chickens with the polio and they don't die. And they're like, oh my God, this is great. If you inject them first with something that's dead or inactivated and then give them the real life virus, they don't die. Isn't that the best fucking mistake ever? That's what I keep telling my students. You just keep making those mistakes, Emily. One of these days, it'll be something that's at the cutting edge of ocular immunology. So I'm going to leave you there and say that I've been Joan, Gabhann, Dromgoole, and you guys have been amazing. Thank you.